Hello there, good morning YouTubers and Facebook Livers and other internet people. Oh my. Well, I kind of messed up, folks. Kind of messed up a little bit. Uh, Man, that weather did come back. I know I was telling Miss Glenda yesterday she likes to walk about 10 miles a day. Boy, it rained last night and stormed and thundered. I just wanted to point out my car out there sitting out in the rain, but just going to demonstrate to you folks. You can look at that and see there. I redid the clear coat restorer on that, as some of you may recall. There is nothing else on there. Hey, Miss Candy. Oh boy, I tell you, this weather, I tell you what. Hey, Philip. And my son-in-law watching too, Miss Candy. But my point was, I did the clear coat restore on my Mustang. There is no protectant on it whatsoever, no wax. People think that if they're getting a lot of beading on their paint, oh, I got plenty of wax left. Not necessarily the case. Not the case. Uh-oh, somebody else popped on. Can't tell. Oh, Miss Kaiser. How you doing, Miss Kaiser? But there's no wax, no protectant at all on that Mustang. And look at the water beading. So water beading doesn't mean a hell of a lot. And most professional detailers, left to their own devices, hey Jimmy, good morning there Jimbo, will tell you they prefer sheeting, water that sheets off, as opposed to beading, because the beads have a tendency to just sit there, and then you get the contaminants from the air, whatever, landing and sticking into the beads. So when the beads dry, Eddie Sharp, how you doing, brother? When the beads dry, all those contaminants remain on the paint. So most professional detailers would rather it sheet off than bead like that is. And I'll be putting some stuff on there that doesn't bead quite as much as that, but almost anything's going to bead a little bit. But anyway, back to my project here. Our 47 Cadillac two-door coupe. I think yesterday, I'm doing great, Eddie. I'm doing great, brother. Better than I ought to be. But yesterday, you might recall, I had finished the door and was getting ready to start on that part. So this whole driver's side is finished. Look at that. I think it turned out quite nicely. I'd say 98% of the scratching is gone. And I got some pretty bright lights going here, so if it was there, it would show up. And there's a few that are still there that are just too deep into the clear coat. But I think it turned out, hey, Mr. Mark. Hey, Mr. Mark. I hope your back's better, brother. I think it turned out quite nicely there. I'm very happy with it. Very happy with it. But really, I did this kind of backwards, Mark, is what I was going to tell folks. Yeah, this is a beast of a vehicle, Eddie. My customer, he's kind of a collector, flipper of classic vehicles. And he traded a 57, I believe he said it was, Bel Air station wagon for this. Even Steven, he said when I get done with this, he's going to put it up for sale. I think he wants about 35 grand for it. It's a resto mod, Eddie. He's got, I think, a 463 cubic inch V8 in it. Isn't that what we said yesterday, Mark? Holy crap. I guess, like Mark said, you got to have some horsepower to pull all this weight. I bet this thing weighs 4,500, 5,000 pounds. Hey, Mr. Robinson, just telling everybody I finished all this yesterday. I think it turned out quite nice. There's not even any wax or anything on that yet. It's just been polished and paint prepped. I paint prep it after I do that, so that if there's any fillers in the polish, but there's always just a little bit, I get all that out with the paint prep so I can see exactly how good I did on the scratches, so that when they're removed, they're gone. They're gone forever unless somebody puts some new ones. What I was saying a few minutes ago, really, I've been saving the roof, but I really should have started on the roof first. But I hate the roof on this thing. That's a long reach over to the middle of that roof, I'm telling you. And it's going to be very fatiguing, but I'm going to go ahead and do that this morning before I get to the back, the rest of the hood, and down the passenger side, because see, all that mess is going to come down on the parts I've already done. But what I'm going to start on this morning, Larry Blanks, how you doing, buddy? How you doing there? Where are you watching from? What I'm going to start on is this, for lack of a better term, I guess, windshield visor, roof visor, I don't know what you call it, but it's pretty scratched up. But I don't think the scratches are serious. I think these are what we call love marks from washing improperly. See all that scratching in there? That kind of pretty much covers. It's got the same thing all over. From a distance, it looks pretty good, but then when the light catches it just right, you can see some over there. Those show up even from, I mean, I'm standing here in real person. I'm about 4 foot away, and I can see those scratches with my naked eye. So that means they got to go. And, you know, my plan of attack, I've already paint prepped it to remove any old stuff that might still be on there, dust and dirt and that kind of stuff. Blew it off with some compressed air. And I don't think we're going to need to wet sand that, although some people say that wet sanding, like would say the 3000 grit foam backed stuff, which is not as aggressive as the sheet 3000 grit sandpaper. But I think what I'm going to do is try first with my Sonex Ultimate Compound, or whatever it is they call it, Cut Max, which is a very strong compound. Oh, it's your shoulder, Mark, I'm sorry. But I'm going to start with this wool pad on a small rotary. It's 5 inches, which should be sufficient for this, even though there is a little bit of a slant and a curve. And then I'll probably drop down to a smaller one. See if I can find it here, show you guys. See, that's a little 3-inch one for doing around down in here on a very slow speed, so I don't burn anything. You got to be careful when you're using these wool pads and a compound. Keep the speed down, keep moving. If you stop, you'll burn it. And when you get to these edges here, what you want to do, most of these rotaries rotate clockwise, so you want the rotation like this, not like this. If you do it like this, you're more likely to burn the paint. So as long as you keep moving and keep the rotation proper. But I'm not looking forward to this because of the reach involved. I've got a small step ladder here, but it's still going to be getting way over there. I mean, even standing on this ladder, I can't, unless I lean way over the car, I can't reach it. So it's going to be tough supporting the weight of that buffer and trying to get just the right pressure on the paint and wish it. Yeah, no, it won't fold down that I can figure, Mark. It looks like it should, but if it does, I don't know. And I had considered just taking it off the car, but you know, these old cars, I'm not sure what kind of thing we got going on up in there. I hate taking stuff off. Yeah, if it would, I wish it came off easier. I'm sure you could get it off, but I'm not sure I want to get into that because some of this stuff, like that there's a little plastic gasket or something there, Mark. I don't know what will happen if you take it off and put it back on. I don't know anything about this car, that kind of stuff, so I'm not going to take it off. But I think what I am going to end up having to do is take those fender skirts off on the rear. Didn't want to do that either, but I don't think I'm going to have any choice. There's just no way to get the wheels and wheel covers 100% clean and looking good with those on there. They just cover, I mean, look, they cover 75% of the tire and the wheel. But he said he's had them off before. And Tim LeVar, how you doing, brother? Where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? But there's a couple bolts in there that hold it on. He said he's taking them off. It's not that difficult. So I think I'm gonna have to take those off just so that I can get those wheels and tires absolutely clean as best I can. It's still gonna cover up, I don't know, 25-30% of the tires and wheels. But after I get through with that roof visor, whatever you call that thing, try to get all them scratches. See all them scratches right there? Try to get all them out. Then I'll move over to the roof itself, which is, you know, there's not a flat spot on this car, Tim, as big as it is. It's all curvy. But this curve is so gentle, I think most of it I will be able to use a 5-inch backing plate just fine on here. And I'll probably use the DA up here. I haven't quite decided yet. Oh, Fayetteville. Fayetteville. But that's a lot. It's kind of dusty up there, but you can see the scratches in that roof. I may have to get a little bit more aggressive with that, but we shall see later on today, hopefully. But I'm going to focus on this. I've been kind of dreading doing this because it's, you know, just the way it's positioned, and it's got this real sharp curve right here. Mr. Tuck, how are you, sir? How are you, sir? Where are you watching from, Mr. Tuck? Huh? I was just telling everybody I was going to get started on this morning, try to get these scratches out of here. It's going to be difficult. It's a tough reach further on over there because this car is so wide. And I was telling everybody I finished up all this yesterday. Yeah, man, some spots are wet sanded. It's been compounded several times and polished and polished and polished and polished. Trust me, kept having to go back and go back. It was a real challenge polishing those little narrow areas around the windows and stuff. So I had to drop down to the very small nano polisher for most of that. But I'm real happy with how that turned out because that was all scratched, all to pieces, if you saw the previous videos. Of course, I had to tape all this off. I've taken all the tape off. Now you can see where I took it off and just parked it, what I call park it on the other part of the car. Because sometimes you can reuse some of that tape, which is ideal because that stuff is pretty expensive, that 3M automotive tape. Hey, Stephanie. How you doing there, sweetie pie? Good to see you on here. I was just telling everybody, Steph, I finished all this up yesterday. I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. It looks good. It's almost like a deckham piece of glass, smooth as silk. And that's what you got to do. What causes your shine is not only, you know, what you put on top of the paint. That includes what we call the gloss. But the shine comes from the paint being flat. And see, this paint is all very flat right now. There's no wax. There's no nothing on there. It's just bare paint. That's just virgin clear coat you're looking at. No protecting on it whatsoever. And you can see the shine that came up on that after a full day's work on that part back there. So, gonna get started on this part, Stephanie, this roof visor, whatever it is. I'll show you guys the scratches in there again. It's gonna be kind of a challenge, but I'm gonna get started and I'll show you guys the results later on so you can kind of compare and contrast but the before and after. Do me a favor. Hey, Miss Linda, you guys that are watching when this video posts, if you would, share it and tag your friends and give me a thumbs up and a comment and all that kind. Hey, there's a thumbs up. Thank you. Just get ready to get started on this part, Linda. See all them scratches in there? I don't know if you can see them. I think you might can. And I finished all this yesterday. That's like a piece of glass right there. A lot of hard work there. But I'm going to get to work, you guys. I appreciate y'all dropping by and saying hello and all your help and your watching and keeping up with what I'm doing. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hard work. Thank y'all very much. Goodbye for now.